Hey everybody, I just had an awesome conversation with Ryan Lischer. Ryan is one of the rising star originators here at RWM Home Loans. Last year, he 6x'd his business, and as Ryan would say, hit it. All right, RWM Nation, I am here today with Ryan Lischer. Ryan, thanks so much for taking a little time to talk to me today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Alex. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So Ryan, I think one of the things I wanted to start into with you is obviously you have risen. You're now one of the rising stars here at RWM. Your business has grown exponentially. And you and I have had a lot of conversation around some of the things that you attribute to this success. But I think it'd be great for the other originators to hear from you, maybe what caused that turning point to go from, doing some business to a lot of business and some of the activities that you attribute to that change.
Yeah, I think anyone, especially some of the newer originators or anyone just getting started, it's really important to remember in terms of, growing your business, it really is an exponential effect of compounding your work habit. And for me, it was, in starting, it was a long period of, frustrating in going to all these events and networking and going to open houses and just seeing zero results. And I remember we were just talking about this with Taylor as well, is we changed our mindset and the idea of what success really is. And we focused only on what we could control, which are the actions that actually cause applications, which could then potentially lead to a locked loan, which could potentially lead to a funded loan. And so if you focus on, the actions and the habits that actually drive business, volume will happen as a byproduct, because, you just put in enough of the work for long enough and it'll start to happen. And part of the confidence comes in the follow through of your activities and your routines. It's not you don't get confidence when you get it's funded email, congratulations. You get confidence when, you put in enough phone calls where then you resonate with somebody or you have a meeting, and then that leads to somebody taking an application and all the way through funding and potentially getting a good review. That was months and even years of compounding effort, to be confident in that, especially for somebody younger. You're potentially dealing with people in their 30s, 40s, 50s that have been around the rodeo a few times. So it takes becoming proficient in that sense to have the confidence to have that conversation and know, I've learned what I've needed to learn. I can help guide you. And I'm not, my age isn't even a factor anymore. It's just whether I can help you or not.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's almost, to me, it's like the illustration of pushing a big boulder up a hill. You're pushing this boulder up a hill with all these activities that you're doing, the open houses, the networking, all of these things, but you don't really know when the boulder hits the top of the hill to start coming down the other side. It just does at some point. So that's what I'm hearing from you. It's like, put your blinders on, don't focus around a volume goal. You can't control volume, but you can control your effort, your output, and ultimately you can do activities to get applications, because applications will then turn into closed loans. Enough applications, you're gonna hit the numbers that you want to hit. So it sounds like that's really what you did, is you just focused on your efforts, and the outcome was a result of that.
Completely. Yeah, I think, you just got to stir up enough dust to where some luck finds you and then some skill set finds you, because now you're starting to have 1, 2, 3, 10, 15 transactions under your belt. And now you know what it takes, your relationship with processing and with the operations team and just, speaking over the phone or in person, all of that improves. It's going to mean your conversion rate is that much higher. So in the beginning, I remember we said, we're going to take 10 applications a month for a year and look up and see what happens. So 120 in 12 months. I don't care what it takes. I don't care if this person I talked to once and they wanted to fill it out. I filled out some of their stuff, took an application, and then never heard from again. That doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the 12 months, the conversion rate was, I was barely getting to 10, but 8 of them were closing, because it just got very consistent that, now I'm getting rock solid referrals from partners or, Now you have enough client base where your clients become some of your biggest referral advocates. And that's when the snowball happens. So, but it feels so frustrating in the beginning. And for me, it was two and a half plus years of feeling like onesie twosies, zero results, and then switching to just being stoked on the work habit and being that my measure of success is when it started to take off.
Yeah, I've been saying a lot lately, a quote, I'm not quite sure who said it, but it's the harder I work, the luckier I get. There's a commonality with top originators, all of our top originators. And if you listen to Mortgage Coach or all these people that are crushing it, they all have great work habits. They work hard. There's no shortcuts. It's just finding out what works for you and something that you like to do, and then start doing it and have repetition around it, which kind of, I think, leads us into maybe our next conversation piece, which is finding your rhythm, finding your flow, and maybe finding your people, the people that you relate to well, to start kind of building that business. And I know that you now have a rhythm and flow that you kind of stick to. I know it's not necessarily time blocking, but can you talk to us a little bit about kind of some of those work habits, and as you started to form these relationships, how you maybe started to kind of hone in on the kinds of people you wanted to work with?
Yeah, I love that. And definitely the first reaction is success is definitely hard work. And I'm by no means there, still working on it every day. So just totally humbled to see some of the rock stars that RWM has, such a good example to follow. And in regards to the hours, yeah, when, it goes back to that schedule, the work habit, the, stirring up enough dust. I was just finally getting out there enough to where you start attracting what you're looking for. I remember the first 3 years, my referral partners were people I would not in a million years consider working with today. They didn't have my values. They didn't share my same interests. It was only a transactional relationship of I only want you because of a deal potential versus we have this great working relationship now. So that's where it's transitioned into finding people that have similar interests, or, taking enough people to lunch enough times to where you start to realize the character components of what you're looking for, because it's got to be mutual. If it's only one way, then, the person's only looking for who can get the best deal, or, it's not helping each other. Versus when you actually like to do business with someone that you like, it's great. They're the first person you think of. You don't need 50 onesie twosies. You need 5 to 10, rock stars. And that takes a lot of time to build up to, but it, allows you to get there with more intentionality, but less trying to get everybody to send me business. I'd rather have a select few. And on my day-to-day habits, it's small intentional windows to really maximize my time, because you don't need 9 hours of just busyness. You need your select hours of focus. And then, especially during COVID, it's been a ton of just relationship building, whether it's realtors or CPAs or anybody that, they're all staying at home. Everybody's available for a Zoom. So there's almost no excuse for them not to connect. And then when surfing opened up again, I've got a few partners that do that. So then it's, in the morning, take them out to spots, chat business, chat life, and then getting set up for the summer versus, just wondering what everybody's doing and staring at Encompass.
So there's two things I want you to come back to. One, maybe we'll touch on this first, is that we talked about getting stuck inside your email or getting stuck inside of a file and just being so caught up in your loans that you're not spending time on being productive. What do you do so that you don't get caught just staring at your emails or your screen, so that you are doing those productive activities to always focus on relationships or business? What advice do you have there?
Yeah, I think the important thing to note is everyone is busy. So everyone could pack their schedules to be busy for being busy's sake. And so it takes prioritizing the habits that give you the biggest return. It's that Pareto principle that 20% of your activities give you 80% of your results. And for loan officers, your results are finding new business, getting new relationships, having new partners. So for me, it's, not wanting to get stuck in Encompass where an hour or two goes by on something you can't even control once it's in processing. I can't even make edits, I can't make changes. So then it's really developing that team trust and relationship with your processor, with the funders, with the underwriters. So that way you can give up some of your control and you don't have to micromanage processes. And when you have that clean approach in the beginning, I can tell you the extra 30 minutes I put in the beginning of a file saves me hours and hours on the back end of having to go back and forth with an underwriter or with processing. So giving up some of that control and trusting allows me to then, in those gaps, take somebody to lunch, or, during COVID, have another Zoom meeting, or have, building the relationship pieces, which will lead to continued business down the line, rather than getting stuck in Encompass for a week or two on a nightmare file, and then you're on the roller coaster ride of, I was super busy, I've been in Encompass for 2 weeks, and now I have no more deals. So, if you can build that team relationship with operations, processing, with everybody, it makes it so much more streamlined, knowing they are very good at what they do, especially at RWM. So I don't need to be micromanaging them.
Yeah, and I think, again, it comes to what you can control. And like you said, you take the extra time to put together a really clean file so you can walk away. Because if you don't slow down in the beginning stages to hand over a file that your processor can fully understand the conversation that you had and the structure of the deal, you can't walk away, because you're going to get constantly pulled back in your loan, picking up the pieces and uncovering different things they find as new documentation comes in. So I think that's really important too. So maybe as a final point, you're touching on things you can do to stay proactive during COVID. You said you're reaching out to people. It's a great time to do that. So can you share with us some of the success you've had around mindset with COVID, and maybe some of those connections that you're making in this time and how that's been going for you?
Yeah, I'd say the last couple of points, it's just been a season of communication, and I don't think over communication is necessary. I think, directed communication is really important. So it's different for who you're talking with. So for clients, setting expectations in the beginning and understanding the environment and what's more difficult, what's easier, what's going to take more time allows, I can't tell you how many times on a really clean file, there'll be a week without communication because they just know, and all of a sudden there's updates. And they're stoked that, oh, cool, we're clear to close all of a sudden. That seemed like a really smooth process, 5-star review, versus needing to call one every single day because it's a purchase, there's a time crunch, maybe they're not getting you documents, so it's not one stroke for everybody.
Sure.
Some need over communication, some see less. Definitely heavy communication with the team, and that helps create efficiency. So, who's got the ball, and it goes back to not having to micromanage. And the biggest communication, I think everyone for the past couple months and moving forward needs to be, your self-talk, how you're talking to yourself, how you're communicating, how you're affirming, not to let, it's so easy to go down this negative hole because there's plenty of, bad things happening around us and in the nation, but it's, so much of that I can't control. I can only be a solution if I have something to give, right? If I'm in the negative hole, how am I going to help anybody? So if your focus can just be, who can I help today? How can I help? Whether that's in work, whether it's a personal relationship, just who can I help today, and just get your eyes off yourself a little bit. And that positive self-talk of, okay, I'm helping, I'm making a difference a little bit at a time, and just puts you in a real positive state for any of the drama we have to deal with, even in the loan business, let alone, the world.
No, it's awesome. That's very good advice. There's a lot of stuff that can be distracting. So I think it's just very important to focus on just being positive, creating positive energy around you, because people are attracted to people that make them feel better, not people that are making them feel worse or being negative. So I think that's a super important point as well. Well, Ryan, this was awesome. I really appreciate you sharing some insight today. I'm going to take us out, and I'm going to play the intro that you and Taylor put together for Lischer's Lowdown. If you guys haven't seen it, Ryan's putting together really awesome updates So I'm going to put a little image to one of your Lish's lowdowns, and I'm going to play that as we end our interview, but keep those up because those are awesome.
I love it. Thanks, Alex.
For episode 6.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hit it. Well, what's up?